What's up, everyone? Welcome on in to the Happy Hour podcast. My name is Trey Lyle. Joining me, as they do each week, is just Dalton Hopkins. Caleb Barnes joining us on camera because he is replacing Michael Massey because Michael Massey decided to not be dedicated to the cause and wants to see someone named Caitlin Clark. Did anybody know who that is?
No. I just want to mark this is the second time in this year that he's gone to a national team sport game without me a day before I get into in a major city the day before I arrive there.
Yeah, they went. Brian, Tom, and Massey went to the Jets final game of the year when they played, I believe, the Dolphins. And
so
then
I thought
he missed that.
I did, and I'm a Dolphin fan, so I just want to put this out into the world.
And now
they're very upset about it.
Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark.
Are they
We're trying to get the algorithm going.
We made the algorithm. Great.
I don't want to be up for the algorithm if it's required by the WNBA. So
Michael Neff, I am trying. Let me introduce you, but he's at a WNBA game tonight, as he's also in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the Indy 500. Joining me, this is the third show I'm doing with this man this week already.
I know. Isn't it awesome?
It is Mike Neff, the grumpy old man at MNeff Short Track, joining us now here. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by My Place Hotels. My Place Hotels is proud to be the hotel sponsor of frontstretch.com. You can head to My Place Hotels right now and sign up and get 10% off when you use the promo code FrontStretch. MyPlaceHotels.com right now. Look at this beautiful thing down the bottom, Dalton.
Nicely done, Dalton. And that's some great Vanna White you got going on there, my friend. Well done.
I'm glad it's not hiding his face.
No, it's right. It's right here. I got free space here, just like a NASCAR Cup Series car. Free space for sponsorship.
Well, if you want, we have other weeks that are unsponsored. So if you want to do that, reach out to Derek Yoder, by the way, or you can reach out to us and we'll put you in contact with it. But reminder about My Place Hotels, they do have plush beds, in-room kitchens, pet-friendly hotels. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop. When traveling, racing fans, you can use promo code, as I mentioned, FrontStretch to save 10% on your stay at any of your nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with the code FrontStretch this racing season. Be sure to make My Place your place. All right, folks, let's get into this. This is the biggest weekend of racing. We now have 4 main event races on Sunday. We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Christmas.
4. We do have 4.
Racing Christmas.
4.
Racing.
Yes, folks. What was announced today?
Are you talking about this weekend? Okay.
Yes, on Sunday there are 4 big races.
Racing Christmas.
Okay. All right.
Well, actually, technically, one of them are on Friday.
Yeah,
taking place on Friday. It's for this weekend. That is correct. But I'm counting it. But sit back, relax, crack open that cold one, and as always, let's enjoy the podcast. Dalton Hopkins, you're first up here because it's a special day. We have to admit Michael Massey was right. He wrote a great article, frontstretch.com, detailing the Hall of Fame and his thoughts on it and laying out how he would vote. And the voters talked about it, and the Hall of Fame class was announced today. And I would have to say it's a pretty good one. And he was, we'll have to give him credit here. He went 3 for 3 on it.
Massey, look, we give Massey a lot of crap, and deservedly so, I think. But when it comes to writing, he really does spit fire. He's very good at articulating his point, and I think he did a great job with that article, which, yes, I agree, you should definitely check out on frontstretch.com if you haven't already. But yeah, just like you said, Trey, he's 3 for 3. He got all 3 of the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductees correct on who he believes should be in. And that, of course, is with the modern era, we have Harry Gant, Kurt Busch, and then with the Pioneer era, we have Ray Hendrick inducted into the Hall of Fame. Humpy Wheeler also getting the landmark award as well. So this is, I think, a great class. But this is our reactions to it. It was just voted just a couple hours ago. So out of a lot of those guys, I definitely 100% agree with Kurt Busch. I think Harry Gant was really the only one that's debatable, but at the same time, I feel like he's definitely due to be inducted as well. So I don't necessarily disagree with that either. That's a tough decision, but Kurt Busch was a shoo-in. I don't think you could argue with that at all. I'm going to open up the floor to you guys because I don't know. What do you guys think of this class? And Mike, I'm going to go with you first because I am genuinely curious to hear what you think about this class and if maybe you have gotten somebody else in.
I mean, I'm cool with the class. You knew Kurt was in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the only person on the planet that truly is still beating the drum for Bill Rexford, because Bill Rexford is the only Cup champion eligible for the Hall of Fame that is not in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And I don't understand why, but maybe someday one of the France family members will take the time to articulate that and explain it to me, because I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to seen Randy LaJoie get in, a two-time champion in the Xfinity Series. I'd like to see us give a little more love to the Xfinity Series these days. But at the same time, I mean, Harry Gant comes from the era where people that were not NASCAR fans knew who the drivers were. And Harry Gant was absolutely one of those drivers that everybody in the United States knew who he was, whether you were a NASCAR fan or not. So I didn't really have a problem with that. Love seeing Humpy get in. There is nobody outside of maybe Bill France that has promoted this sport any better than Humpy Wheeler has over his career. So yeah, no problem there with Humpy whatsoever. So the only other one that I'd like to beat the drum on, and it's a short track thing. I would love to see Larry Phillips get in there. He's been on the ballot from the first year of this thing, and he still hasn't gotten in. And I really, really think that he's the top. I mean, next to Dick Trickle, he's probably the most famous short track racer in the world, and he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But I'm good.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I was gonna say, I think it's a great class. Like you all were saying, I think pretty much everyone on there. Trying to go back through, and I've been trying to go through and look at some of the other, I guess, 2025 nominees, and yeah, like from the modern era, I think especially Kurt Busch is probably the easiest one to agree on. I don't know if some of that is recency bias, but I mean, he did have more than 30 career wins, and I mean that includes the championship at Daytona 500. And it was a pre like crazy pack racing Daytona 500. It was back whenever still had a little bit more with the driver to do as well. So that one was really good to see, especially for the recency side of it with Kurt Busch. Like started off his career just incredible young talent, but then had the super rocky point in the middle, and it's just really rare to see a driver, really anyone, come back from something like that, especially to the point of what Kurt Busch did, to come back and really kind of he was a great driver before, but then he was still a great driver after he returned. He could get it done, and really kind of seemed like he flipped around the narrative around his name once he came back and like racing with I guess Stuart Haas and then Chip Ganassi and the 2311. That's when I really think of Kurt Busch really kind of going and doing what he was known for, just getting good finishes and competing for wins out of that. As for the other guys, I guess I can't say that I remember much of their racing careers, but just looking at the rest of the names on the ballot and the rest of the stats, it was great to see those. The only other, I think Randy Dorton could be one, which this was his first year on the ballot, but he's one that a lot of people know the name, and he had a huge impact, I guess, building engines and things like that behind the scenes. A lot of people in the industry know his name. So that's one in the future down the road that I think will probably have a really good shot at getting in. But as for this class, I thought they were all great.
Yeah, I'm glad that Kurt Busch did get the Baseball Hall of Fame treatment. Basically because of his personality and the way he treated media at times, he would have gotten the kaboot, as he would have probably not been in on the first ballot. So I'm glad that didn't happen there. Massey lays out a really good argument for Ray Hendrick, not Rick Hendrick, Ray Hendrick, no relation. And he obviously has the Flying 11 iconic paint scheme. You could say the same thing about Harry Gant and the Skull Bandit. and everything that goes along with that. For me, being a Richmond guy, that got as pans are getting blasted at the Neff residence right now.
What got blasted?
Sounds like
we hear
pans.
things crashing in your household,
Are
Mike.
you okay?
That was my refrigerator door closing.
Well, it sounded like
okay.
something. Okay.
Wait.
It was something metallic.
I apologize. She closed the trash can lid. I didn't realize that. Our trash can, for some reason, has the little shock absorber thing that makes it close slowly, has stopped functioning. So now it slams shut and makes a loud.
I was like, do you hate my opinion that much? It's like, but
yeah,
to me, like
the
most notable stat, or one of, is that he had 700 wins in the modified tour, which is insane, and he had 20 wins at Martinsville. That's more than Richard Petty. I know it's the modified series, but still, he had 20 wins at Martinsville. Like, that's insane. That's an insane stat. And you look at the rest of the class, I think if you had to say like the last man in or the last man out, which based off the voting, it broke that way, was Jeff Burton. And to me, like it's hard for me to put Jeff Burton in over those Harry Gant or Kurt Busch, because no offense to Jeff Burton, I think, was he like close, if not like to the best in his era? And it's to me, the Hall of Fame is you need to have the elite of elite kind of things or the elite impact. It's like two different things on the sport. And
so, go ahead. I'm sorry, Trey.
I think about it like this. Could you tell the history of NASCAR without this person? I don't think you do without Harry Gant. I don't think you do without Kurt Busch. And you obviously can't tell the history of the modified tour, which is part of this, without Ray Hendrick. And you definitely can't tell the history of NASCAR without Humpy Wheeler. Like, for sure. It's the reason why, and if you want to guess the year of this race here behind me, do it in the comment section. But the other race that's happening on that Sunday is as big as it is because of Humpy Wheeler. So to even get in the conversation with this race in American culture, especially when he started it, just shows how good of a job he did. And
we have lighted super speedways because of Humpy Wheeler. He's the only reason that they lit Charlotte. I mean, everybody said you can't do it, and they turned around and did it. And
honestly, I'm surprised he didn't get in sooner.
Idiotic night racing on a regular basis.
I think so. Look, before I go on and say what I'm going to say, I do want to say that I like this class very much, and I think the voters got it right. But I think if there is anybody I would put over Harry Gant, I think it might be Greg Biffle. And here's why. Harry Gant,
I can see that.
As good as he is and as iconic as he was, and Mr. September and all the things that he did for the sport, and that iconic number 33, Greg Biffle did a lot too. And Greg Biffle also won championships. He won a Truck Series championship and he won a Busch Series championship.
Yep.
And Harry Gant did not. And I know Gant did do some truck races. Did not really enough to win a championship, but he also ran in the Busch Series and never won a championship. So I do believe that it's sort of like Harry Gant's been in the running for a while, and it's kind of like the Ricky Rudd deal. It's like you kind of just got to give it to him after a while. Greg Biffle's going to be on the ballot next year too. So
you see that with all these Hall of Fames all the time.
You're not wrong, and I like that Mike brought up Bill Rexford, because that exact reason he said it was like he's a Cup champion. Like, I feel like if you win a Cup Series championship, you just are an automatic ballot in. Like, you should automatically be in the Hall of Fame. But I'm sure his time will come also. But I think Greg is probably the only one I would argue. When I saw that list, I kind of thought if I was going to be voting, I'd probably put Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle. It's kind of funny because Mike mentioned banging a gong earlier, and I was like, "Yeah, gong show winners, Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle." So
very nice.
Yeah. So
our Fred Stretch Jeopardy question, by the way, was the gong
show.
Yeah,
and I missed that. I actually missed that. I didn't know what that was, but yeah, I do now. So, but yeah, I think that's the only one I would say. That said, I think his time's going to come. If not next year, it'll be very soon.
Yeah, and the other thing about Biffle that's going to help him now is the work he has done in Western North Carolina. I
Mhm.
mean, the impact that he has made outside of the sport that has shown on the sport, doing all that he has done in Western North Carolina when nobody else is doing it is a huge statement.
Yeah, and
He
also
is-
his popularity has
and it's
grown because of Cletus.
kind of, to be
you
fair,
know?
it's
Yes.
kind of like Benny Parsons. Jeff Burton is kind of the Benny Parsons of the era right now.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I do wonder who is in the like 26. I can't believe we're talking about 2026 class. Like I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It would have been who retired 2 years after Jimmy. So would have been Harvick?
No,
Harvick
Harvick
retired.
retired after 23, so I think we got to wait.
Is it 3 years?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I thought it was
I don't think he's on the ballot
5
next year.
Because I'm trying to remember if there's anybody notable in 26 that would be eligible for the modern era. And I'm trying to
Mhm.
think, because I think the next notable person eligible will be Kevin Harvick. I'm trying to think of like recent retirements. It's Harvick, Boyer, but Boyer's technically eligible now because he retired the same year as Jimmy.
Who was Ryan Newman was not on the ballot, was he?
Now,
Well,
since
Oh,
Newman
shut
does,
up.
I wonder since Newman does modified races,
Oh yeah.
He's still technically active.
he's still technically active.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah.
Because
all right.
Bob, it's
Yeah,
weird because I
okay.
don't think Bobby started doing modified stuff till after he got in the Hall of Fame. That's why.
Mhm.
But,
That's true.
so I wonder if they're counting Newman as still. Oh, Tony's already in. I'm done.
Tony's already in.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think of notable retirements.
Tony's
Yeah.
working on going to the NHRA Hall of Fame.
Which
Right
he won
now.
this week. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of like
And now he's leading the points.
even crew chiefs. Like, is there a notable crew chief that retired? I don't
Yeah,
think so.
Those go under the radar a lot more.
Todd,
A
like
recent-
Todd Gordon, like with Todd Gordon. When did Todd Gordon retire? That would be the only.
that's probably pretty close.
That's the only one I can think
Yeah.
of off the top of my head. So
I also wanted to say it's kind of cool. The Ray, Hendrick, and Massey made the connection in his article as well. You see just how much of an impact Ray and Roy had on the sport. I feel like we get a flying 11 kind of throwback or tribute like every other year, it seems like. And
we got one in the Cars Tour race at North Wilkesboro this past weekend.
Yeah.
It was a flying 11 car. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure there was. I saw it on TV, so.
Yeah,
to be fair, Denny always throws it out there because he's a Virginia
Mhm.
guy. So
Yeah.
not just a Virginia
that's where
guy,
that
a
comes from.
Richmond Virginia
Yeah.
guy, like
Yeah.
like Ray, which
Right.
And it was a good looking car too.
804 stand up. Yeah, it's interesting. You call this the Denny Hamlin class because you have his former driver and one of his heroes going into the Hall of Fame. So, all right, let's move to our next topic here at Happy Hour. We're heading to Mr. Neff here. Well, this weekend we had some interesting finishes to the race, interesting comments, and I don't know if we want to talk much about the Joey Logano comments because he did walk them back the next day, and it maybe is more of a clear sign of frustrated with strategy, but couldn't take it out on his crew chief, so he took it out on Christopher Bell when he really couldn't take it out on Christopher Bell. But the end of that truck race, Lane Riggs, unapologetic in his move. And I know you wanted to touch on that a little bit, Neff, as I'll pull up the finish too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the great thing about the media coverage of NASCAR is the fact that we get to be in the face of anybody that is in the race that takes the checkered flag within 3 minutes of them taking the checkered flag. Now, if they wreck out earlier, it's a different story. But if they take the checkered flag, they stop on pit lane and they get out of their car, and anybody with a microphone, a camera can get in their face. And you get raw, unadulterated opinions that haven't had the time or the pleasure of seeing video or seeing other analysis or whatever. And so we get these guys that just got out of the car after, as you see in the finish right here, Riggs sails it in on the bottom. It washes up. He could have maybe saved an inch. But, I mean, the way he was going in there, as he said, you're going for the win at North Wilkesboro. He was unapologetic, and I don't think he needed to apologize for anything. He was going for a win. I mean, let's face it, Corey Heim has dominated trucks this year, and he went in there. He's like, look, I did it, and I'd do it again. And that's, to be fair, that's the way Lane Riggs drives. I mean, he doesn't just wipe people out. It's not like he went in there and did 8 corner better than 4. He just happened to bump him at that apex, and it was enough to send Heim around. So that I agree. I don't think he was out of line. Joey, on the other hand, yeah, he needs to take a real retrospective on many moves that he has made in his career before he starts casting aspersions about getting roughed up by anybody else. Because Lord knows, let's have Matt Kenseth do an interview on Joey Logano's driving skills if we want to go down that path.
Yeah, I think the thing Lane did 2 weeks ago when we talked about Hocevar giving the bird was worse because he kind of tried to just wreck Hocevar and failed. Whereas here it was just a failed slide job. As Blaney was doing his Dale Jr. impersonation on the.
He was trying. He was
doing his Dale Jr. impersonation on the broadcast. Slide job.
I love the Dale Jr. Tweet, the tribute to him afterwards. That was great.
And I think it was just a bad move. Like, one, what's worse about the move is not only did you mess up the corner, you lost yourself the race. Luckily, it was your teammate, so your team still won. But that's where I think he just made a bad move. And then, like, the point of the truck series is to make these kind of mistakes. Sure. I was thinking if it wasn't Corey Heim, and I give Corey Heim a lot of credit, he went there and talked to him, said his piece, and left. No team involvement, no fighting, no hoopla, which, maybe he should have done something more, but I respect what he did. And I get Corey Heim's frustration where I think if you looked at every race this season, there's a real chance that Corey Heim should have won him, like every race this season. And he's like a giant in a kiddie pool right now, it feels like, with his talent and his ability and all the talent that was like his equal, quote unquote, left the truck series this past season, and it's a new batch of drivers. So that's a different conversation. But with Lane, I give him credit. I think if he doesn't have what happened in Kansas, I don't think this is as big of a conversation of why is Lane doing what he did. I think it was just a dude trying to make a move that you probably can't do there, but he didn't know, and he tried it, and it failed, and maybe the only nitpicking is if you can do your best not to spin out Corey Heim, I would try that. And otherwise, I don't think there's much to say about it. But when it comes to Lane Riggs, I think it's a reputation thing. You come in with a bad reputation and then you do something, every little thing is just going to make it worse. Whereas if it was someone else who maybe, kind of like Christopher Bell, who we know races clean, you get more of the benefit of the doubt from the public opinion.
Yeah, the only beef that I had on the Heim thing, Heim didn't take a chance to let Lane say anything. And I think if you're going to wander all around pit lane for the better part of 30 minutes before you figure out that he's parked at the other end, the least you could have done was say your piece and then take the time to at least hear what Lane has to say. I promise he wasn't going to like to hear what Lane had to say, but I think he at least owed him that because Lane sat there respectfully and listened to what he had to say. He should have taken the time to at least let Lane say his piece.
I do think the longer you hang around, though, the more like crew members do get there and tensions kind of go up and things like that. So I also kind of understand. I think Lane Riggs and Corey Heim, I don't like Corey's odds if things were to start swinging over there. Then again, I know Toyota, like they sometimes send their drivers to like certain classes and everything. But Lane's got that kind of country boy energy, I feel like, kind of like Austin Hill almost has. But it's kind of the same thing. I agree with kind of what you were saying, Trey, is like if it wasn't 2 weeks in a row that this has happened with Lane kind of being involved in a finish like that at the end, and then if it wasn't Corey Heim just constantly, like basically probably should have won every race this season, I think it's probably handled a little bit differently. I think any driver in Corey Heim's position was going to be upset. Just the fact that Corey Heim has had so much this year and he's dominated so many of the races, just for it to not go his way. It wasn't necessarily dirty, but Lane Riggs definitely. I mean, he ran Corey up out of the groove because it is a repaved track, and once you jump over that little lip, there's a lot of dirt and debris up there, and so I think he drove it in a little bit deep, and it definitely was his fault. And I kind of liked what some of the people were talking about after the race. He said, "I only care about me and my team," and it's one of those things where it's like it's probably not something that I would have said after the race, but at the same time, like we ask for drivers and personalities, and we ask for drivers to own it, and that's exactly what he did. He got out and like he said, I mean, he's only thinking about his team. And Lane Riggs, I mean, I felt like it took a little bit for him to get up there and consistently compete for wins whenever he first hopped into that truck. I think a lot of people had like Zane Smith type of expectations for him, but the goats. It's good to see him up there, like actually competing at the front now consistently. And so I don't know, like I go back and forth. On one hand, I'm like, I want to be the shaking my fist and like, oh, I need to get it under control. But at the same time, I mean, I enjoy watching guys and seeing guys being willing to make moves and possibly step over that line rather than just staying in line and playing the PC game of, oh, I don't want to make anyone mad. I don't want to go for the win because it might hurt someone else's feelings. Like, I enjoy that. And it gives us something to talk about, even though we're going to get on and maybe like slam the driver at the same time. I'm like, hey, we have something to talk about. We had something to watch and enjoy and get us up out of our seat, get us excited about these finishes.
Yeah, I think, look, when it comes to Corey Heim, look, I just want to say he has every right to be frustrated, especially with kind of like what Trey is saying and Mike has said is like he has, and Caleb too, like he has had every opportunity to win these races, and it just seems like something goes wrong in the end. But at the same time, he still has, 3 wins still this year? I mean, the guy's doing just fine, okay? He's going to make the Final Four for sure. I don't see any kind of problems like becoming of him that will take him out of that running. But look, it's a short track race, and not to mention there wasn't a whole lot of passing like when it came to North Wilkesboro, like the entire weekend, at least for the trucks in the Cup Series. So for him to maybe not think that Lane Riggs was going to try something is just a little preposterous. I don't, and again, it's like you guys, like we saw in the video, like I don't know if Lane really did a whole lot wrong there. I think, yeah, kind of like I agree with Mike. Maybe he could have given a little bit like of an inch to kind of like, give Corey more room. But at the same time, I mean, the guy, he's a short track racer for one. I mean, let's just put that out there. Like Lane Riggs comes from the world of late models and short tracks. He knows how to get this done, and he's probably not really used to the trucks not being able to pass a whole lot. And he had to do what he had to do, and it was really the only way that anybody was going to beat Corey Heim, and he made it happen. So I don't think Corey should not be frustrated. I think he should be frustrated. He should absolutely be upset. I don't know if he should pay him back or anything. I think that was just hard racing. That's just the way it is. And look at what Joey Logano said. I mean, Joey Logano walked back his comment, and he said, now that I've seen it again, I don't really know if he did anything wrong. And yeah, like it's the same thing. Like Christopher Bell just moved off the racetrack because there was no other way anybody was going to get by him. It just was not going to happen. He did what he had to do to win. That's short track racing. That's NASCAR. Get used to it. Let's move on. It's not the end of the world for Corey. And Lane, by the way, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, still doesn't have a win this year. So he's still got some work to do. So let's just move
and he's had a lot of bad luck this season from engine problems and getting caught up in other stuff. So he was probably more desperate there to get the win in terms of the playoff situation as well. Throw that in there as well, because he's been close.
Because it was right there. Just a quick reminder to Mr. Hopkins, don't forget 2020 when Mr. Harvick won 9 races and did not make the championship round. Don't be just sign sealing and delivering, Mr.
Harvick. I think of William Byron in what was it, 2016? Yeah, the fact that he did not win that championship is preposterous, is ridiculous. But no, you're right, Mike. You're 100% correct. But I think Corey's going to be fine.
I think he will be too, but you could be wrong.
Yeah, he still has 3 wins this year, but again, it feels like it could be like 6 or 7.
I agree. No, it could be like
easily.
Yeah, it could be 6 wins. He should have won Homestead. I mean, let's just for sure.
Homestead, Martinsville this week. I can't remember. Kansas last week was probably had the fastest truck. Just could not.
Didn't.
Absolutely.
Well, a place that will check you in fast and will always be reliable is My Place Hotels. My Place Hotels proud to be the official hotel sponsor of Front Stretch with plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Racing fans can use promo code Front Stretch to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with code Front Stretch. This racing season, be sure to make My Place your place.
I want to add to this. Okay, I just want to say, I have never stayed in My Place hotels until when I went to the Indy GP, and I absolutely loved it because I stay at a lot of hotels throughout the year. I travel a lot, and I just want to say that was a fantastic experience. They're a fantastic hotel, and I'm very excited. We'll be with them this weekend as well, starting tomorrow night for me. So I'm very looking forward to it. I just want to thank My Place. They're fantastic brand.
And they have plush beds.
They do. They're good beds.
Yeah,
they are good beds. It's a nice place. It is a nice place, and it is my place.
Especially after a long day of walking around the track.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
Honestly, a hotel bed, like the number one thing is like, give me a nice bed and a nice shower, and
dude,
that's like top
and a firm pillow, and I'm
top two things. So
nice.
I've had the pillow in the bed part.
I've had terrible hotel experiences being like in the world of racing and travel a lot. I'm just so thankful that we got My Place this weekend. I'm so excited. Thank goodness.
So let's move on. If you were watching this lovely watch party that Mr. Neff and I and Wyatt Watson put on Front Stretch Plus YouTube channel, which Neff, I have good news. You will be doing your Christmas.
Yes. I am psyched.
Yes.
Racing Christmas Sunday.
So Michael Neff,
Monaco
will be
Indy,
starting at 9.
Charlotte.
I guess 9 a.m. is when Monaco starts. So 9 a.m. to the end of the day on our YouTube channel. We'll be live streaming all day.
Cow.
Well,
he might be by himself.
There might be a slight break in there.
Nope. You said you would go all day.
I mean, I'll go all day.
You said you would go all day.
Monaco ends at like 11.
Run the tape back.
Indy starts at 12:30. I'm more than willing to sit there and fill. I'm good with that.
No, we'll just have you sleeping.
Forget the 12 hours of Sebring. We can get the 12 hours of Neff just racing.
It's going to be more than 12 hours, brother.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that
18 hours of Neff.
Those poor people. But after that, if you try to watch any of the Fox post race in that like 15-minute window before a lovely post race conversation with Trey Lyle, a weird guy named Michael Neff, and Chase Folsom, you heard a lot of asking the drivers, talking about if North Wilkesboro will get an all-star race. Caleb Barnes, it's our turn to have that discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, the discussion about should North Wilkesboro get a points-paying race, a full race. And before the weekend going in, I wrote in the 4 burning questions, which apparently was a burning question in the mind of a lot of people this weekend, was should it get a points-paying race? And I was of the opinion that going into the weekend that we should hold off on it, pump the brakes on it. I guess as Michael Neff has exited for a minute. Just because with the car, the short track performance hasn't been the best. And the last thing we need to do with this car is oversaturate it with short tracks that don't put on a great show, just because people will tire of it even quicker and need to fix the short track problems before adding more short tracks, both with Wilkesboro, but then also there's still all the limbo up in the air of what's going to happen with Auto Club and things like that. But then the race happened, and of course it was great. And there's a lot of lead changes, set a record. And
stop it.
This wasn't just this wasn't necessarily your all-star race with all the segments and restarts and things like that. There were restarts, but it's because cautions were actually happening. Guys were running into each other, spinning out. These were natural cautions. It wasn't this segmented. I guess there was the all-star caution, and then there was the fun Michael Waltrip flag. But there were still other things happening in the middle of the run. It wasn't just they restarted, ran into each other, and had to rack them up. Like, it was after quite a few laps had gone by, because these guys were racing side by side. Wilkesboro has that progressive banking, which helps the guys run side by side, and they make the case of like there's not shifting going on. A full field would have more cars on the racetrack and more lap traffic, all those sorts of things. And so everybody's trying to make these cases for like, this is why Wilkesboro now should be on the schedule full time. So that's the question I wanted to pose to you all: is should it make its full time, not debut, but return back onto the schedule as a full time points paying race with all 36 drivers? And I'll go to put it out there. I still would caution, just say, let's wait another year or two before we put the Cup Series back on. But I would love to see Truck and even the Xfinity Series get their shots. But are you all on board of the Cup Series race at North Wilkesboro train yet?
Can I go first for once in this?
Sure.
So Jordan Bianchi proposed this idea, and I'm of the belief that this is the smarter one, because it's more of, if you say yes, you need to be like, all right, what are you kicking out of there? Is it a road course race, which I think they want to keep at that number? Is it a Texas of the world? Like, because it has to be an SMI track. Now,
Why?
because it's an SMI track.
Why?
Because
Why does an SMI track have to be booted to put another SMI track in?
Because that's how it works.
Why?
Because
NASCAR's
SMI is
not
not
gonna
going
give
to
up
want
their
to
date.
replace one of their races with an IA.
NASCAR is not going to want to replace. Yeah, NASCAR is not going to
But
want.
that's my point, and that has always been my point on this thing. Not to hijack the conversation.
Can I lay out my?
We don't need the ISC SMI thing. If you got a good track, put in a
ABC
good track
1,
and
2,
get rid
3.
of a lousy one.
ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. Can I go now, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. Remember, I can mute you.
I know you have.
Okay. Well, you have trash cans going off, so I just want to be sure. Last time I talked, you had a trash can go off because you thought my opinion was trash. All right. Bianchi lays this out, and he says, so there's 38 races in the season, 2 exhibitions, 36 points paying races. And he basically is like, why do we need 36 and 2? Could we do 37 and 1? And I was like, that is a good idea. So instead of just doing instead of this weekend being the All-Star weekend, just make it a points weekend. And you can still do the pit challenge. You can still do that sort of stuff this weekend. And you make it a points race. And then you just make the Clash your All-Star race. And you do it to kick off the season, or you do it and you can get more creative with it and call it the All-Star race. And it's a fun kind of catchy thing to get your season going. And I don't think that's a bad idea necessarily. And you think about it, you can do the same parameters for the, like, people have talked about, there's like, everyone gets in the Clash now. Well, how do you limit the Clash? You make the All-Star race and do the same rules of the All-Star race. And it also gets rid of the, like, guys who get it for 2 for 1, like Josh Berry. Let's say he doesn't win the rest of the year. Well, he's still getting in the All-Star race for next year. And if he doesn't win between now and the next All-Star race, he still theoretically gets in. So I think that's one way to do it. It's a fun way to kick off your season. And especially if SMI is going to get the championship race, whether it be at Las Vegas or Charlotte as 2 places, let's use, then a natural way for the All-Star race, air quotes around the All-Star race, would be at a NASCAR track is just do it with the Clash at the beginning of the year. And there you have it. You just go to 37 and 1, because I'm not going to, most sports only have 1 All-Star exhibition. NASCAR has 2 for whatever reason. So, and if you're not going to do the Clash at Daytona anymore, then that's a way to do it, is just to make the Clash the All-Star race and turn North Wilkesboro to a points race. Because the racing I saw there, I think is some of the best, because it's like the perfect short track for this car, because you can go multiple lanes, you can run the top, you can run the bottom. Just needs a little bit of a better tire, and it's wearing quickly. So that's where I stand. That's what Jordan Bianchi proposed, or at least talked to people about, and I'm really all for that idea.
I think I need
Go
to
ahead,
think
brother.
about this a little bit more when it comes to I mean, that is an intriguing idea. Don't get me wrong. That said, I feel like the All-Star race is kind of tradition now. I don't know if you can like tradition to have it before the 600. I sort of liked it when it was still at Charlotte. I think so with the way that the Charlotte Oval is nowadays, I feel like that it would be a very popular decision just to bring it back there. That doesn't mean that, but I do agree that North Wilkesboro has got to stay on the schedule somehow, some way. There's just, and if that means it's got to have a points race, then so be it. There's just no way around it. And at the same time, if there's not really a way, I feel like the All-Star race needs to stay on the schedule, but I also feel like Bowman Gray needs to stay on the schedule. So I don't know if that really means, because Bowman Gray, if you get rid of the All-Star race and you kind of make it like the Clash, then now you're just going to have the Clash and the All-Star race in the same race. And I don't know how I feel about that, because the Clash was always meant to be for pole sitters. It was always meant to add that little oomph when you won the pole. You know, it was always a big deal when you won the pole award, and the Clash was always a really big thing. And if you get rid of that, and it's just the All-Star race, well, now it's like tradition. You know, you're kind of getting rid of that too. So, but I get the argument. I really do. I think if NASCAR does that, I won't hate it. But regardless, when it comes to like the overarching question of should North Wilkesboro have a points race, I think it should. What we saw from this previous weekend was a better short track race than we've seen out of, tracks like Martinsville, that's for sure. So I don't really know if you could really argue against it. And not to mention, going to North Wilkesboro is just freaking cool. Like, it's just cool that we're back there. Like, if you had told me, again, 5 years ago, if you had told me, oh yeah, we're going to have the All-Star race, NASCAR Cup Series is going to be racing in North Wilkesboro again on the schedule, I'd have slapped you in the face. There's no way I would have believed you. So to put that in the points, make that as a points race, I mean, we got races like, Martinsville, which is not performing right now. I'd even argue maybe even Bristol, maybe Richmond. Sorry, Trey. Like, those tracks are not really.
You don't dare take that track away.
No, I'm not saying take it away. I'm just saying those are tracks that are on the schedule that are not having the kinds of races that. Well, yeah,
True.
but they're not having the kinds of races that I feel like North Wilkesboro just put on. So you really can't hurt it, If you ask me, put North Wilkesboro in the Charlotte Roval date, make the Oval the All-Star race. That way you have the All-Star race the week before the 600 again. That's just nostalgia's sake. That's my tradition. But I think the idea that you propose, Trey, works too. Yeah, but North Wilkesboro's got to stay on the schedule. And you've got to make it a points race, then so be it.
I look at this through the eyes of Kentucky and Rockingham. Kentucky had an Xfinity race for, I believe it was 12 years before they ever got a points race. Mm-hmm. And they sold that thing out and supported the heck out of it all the way up until they got a cup race. They supported the cup races, and then COVID happens, and the next thing you know, they're screwed out of a date. I don't know why. Rockingham came back after getting screwed out of the whole mix, ran a truck race that had 30,000 people there, and the next year they couldn't get 15,000 people in the stands. And that's why we quit going back to Rockingham. Now the Rockingham's back on Xfinity and trucks. Give them 10 or 12 years to earn their way back. I'm not saying North Wilkesboro needs to spend 10 years earning it, but we're at recency bias right here. We're 3 years into this. Let's get 6 or 7 or maybe 8 years down the line and make sure we're still supporting this track before we move it into the Cup Series. I got no problem having a truck Xfinity weekend like we did at Rockingham. I would love to see it when they ultimately do move it in, replace the Roval, because I despise the freaking Roval, but that's a whole nother combination. But I love the idea of it being on the schedule, but it's got to earn its spot back. And the only way you do that is by having the fans support it and 3 sample races. I mean, did you look at the stands when the Open was going on? There were a lot of empty seats when the Open happened. So I'm not fully on board that we're ready to have North Wilkesboro run in a points race yet. I think we need to have 3 or 4 more years of it before we go there. As far as your suggestion about Clash and All-Star race, I like the Clash, and I like the Clash being a pole sitter event, because it's not really a pole sitter event at this point. I don't know what the rules are anymore. I'd like it to go back to a pole sitter event, but I like how that kicked off the season, and I'm with you. I think the All-Star race should either stay at North Wilkesboro or go back to Charlotte on the Oval.
Yeah, and
that's my piece.
I mean, and that could be a whole another discussion too. I don't know if we have time for it today, but just the All-Star event. I feel like part of it is the point of trying to showcase your best drivers, but I almost feel like, and maybe it would take a little bit of reevaluation or reworking, but some of the other point I feel like of the All-Star race is keyword trying, to give teams and drivers and everybody kind of a bit of a race to relax a little bit more for a week, not have to worry about going out and competing for points and things like that. Even though they are having to go to the track and do some of the things of a normal weekend, they're a little bit closer to home. They're not having to worry about going out and executing to a T to get in a good points position or qualify for the playoffs or anything like that. And I feel like that's one of the benefits as well of any sort of All-Star event. You look at NBA All-Star Weekend or the Pro Bowl or whatever, is for those guys to go and just have some fun and let loose a little bit together. So I don't know if there's a way to maybe have a couple of other events leading up. I almost think of they do the Corey LaJoy kickball challenge and stuff. What if they actually had a whole week in between an All-Star race, or just like you were saying, Trey, took away the All-Star race and then just had a week of All-Star events, kind of where drivers are having drivers and teams and crew members and things like that, or maybe participating in little mini games and challenges and stuff like that. But again, that could be a whole nother conversation. I don't want to derail it. But yeah, those are also interesting ideas.
All right, final topic here. So obviously, as some of you may know, I've been pushing this hard all week for the old people like Michael Neff. The Cup Series race is on Prime. You're gonna have to. You can't flip through the channel. I'm gonna be flipping through the channels, man. I don't see NASCAR. Where's my NASCAR on my TV? No, you're gonna have to hit the menu button to go to an app, or you have to AirPlay, or you got to watch it on your iPad because you can't connect it to your TV. A lot of children or our age, my age, Caleb's age, and Dalton's age, might get phone calls from their parents this weekend on Sunday night asking, how do I get my NASCAR on my TV? Thank you. Hopefully you enjoy my impersonation. But overall, your expectations for Prime, they came out with some pretty decent features. They'll have, similar to what they have in football, the rapid replay. So if you join in late, they'll allow you to kind of watch the highlights and catch you up as you go. They're going to do no full-size commercials for Green Flag Racing. They will have side-by-side for all of it. Obviously, the booth of Adam Alexander, Steve Letarte, Jr. It is quite fascinating. So, Dalton, you go first on this one. Where do your expectations stand when it comes to NASCAR's debut on Prime with the Coke 600?
I don't think. Look, I'm not going to talk bad about any particular channels when it comes to how they performed recently, but I will say that I have high expectations for Amazon Prime. Now, I don't think they're going to absolutely hit it out of the park. It's like CW, right? When the CW came along, a lot of people had some high expectations and thought they were going to, it was going to be a breath of fresh air. And they've got some struggles, and they've had some struggles recently. But I do think they have learned from their mistakes, and they've done a really great job. I mean, they have some fantastic graphics. They've got a great team. And I think that the CW has done a great job with the Xfinity Series so far this year. So, I mean, for its first full year, So I think Prime's going to be the same. Not to mention, like you said, you got Adam Alexander, who is just, I feel like, is next in line to take the Cup Series. Or at least when it comes to one of the bigger broadcasting companies like Fox or NBC, I feel like he should be next in line.
But he's doing the summer. So the cool part is it's the same booth for the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true.
that-
Yes, you're right, and he is a fantastic. He's he's a veteran commentator, and I love the heck out of him. I think he's gonna do a great job. Dale Jr. Enough said, right? And then you got Steve Letarte, who I feel like is like the Larry Mack. He's like the next Larry Mack. He's the crew chief, veteran, knowledgeable person to have in the booth. So they've got a great team, and not to mention this whole double this. What do they call it? The no commercials during green flag. It's like the double screen commercials during green
nonstop.
flag
I mean,
racing.
it's NASCAR nonstop.
It's NASCAR nonstop. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Like, I think that sounds to me like Amazon Prime is listening to the fans, and they're not really beholden to their, to their leadership like Fox is. They're not really tied to that to that legislation. So I am excited to see what Prime does. I think this is going to be a very interesting take on what the Cup Series can do. We've seen some streaming services do great. We've seen some streaming services do poorly when it comes to sports. So I am excited. I'm optimistic, and I am looking forward to the next few weeks. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would add a couple of things. They're going to have unique shopping opportunities throughout the race, because obviously it's Amazon, so it's shop the race experience that will let fans buy NASCAR merchandise on a special page of the Amazon shopping app while watching the action. They clearly are making an effort to try to make it fresh and new. And also, I think Amazon, by doing the side by side, it understands, because again, it's kind of funny. It's like they got all their lumps with football. Like, they did football first, was like the most notable thing. They have football. They have the Yankees on Fridays. So those are like, two pretty big fan bases, the NFL and then the most popular team in baseball. So they're setting up for NASCAR, where they know naturally going into the race, there are going to be fan frustration because it's something completely different that we've never seen on how to get to the race. Granted, a lot of America has Amazon Prime because it's Amazon Prime, and it theoretically, but by doing the side by side and by doing these other things that will entice, like the idea being, all right, if we can get them there, they're going to get over the frustration quickly. That will be a big thing. Plus, they are not restricted. I can't wait to see what they do post race, because they're not restricted on time. And it's similar to what NBC started to do with Peacock, where if you watched it on Peacock, they would just do more post race coverage on Peacock.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that TNT will do it with Max, and I'm assuming Amazon will do it with Amazon Prime. And I'm pretty interested to see how that shakes out. Caleb, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess I'll save my broadcast opinions, but for another day. But I am excited to see kind of the difference, if there is a difference. My one sort of reservation is, I know Prime carried the practice and qualifying this year, but again, I don't know. I know they're basically kind of using Fox's people for that, so I don't know as far as their racing coverage goes on Sundays, if that will look different than the Fox broadcast. So that's what I'm kind of like, I don't know if it'll be the same or not, but I am hoping, like, I don't expect this to be necessarily a move that's going to be trying to grow the sport, at least not anytime in the next year or two. But I do think this is a really big opportunity, both for Prime and TNT this later this summer, to showcase the sport in a different way and to present the races in a different and unique way. And I think that's something that the NASCAR world really needs in this day and age, because I was thinking about this a few weeks ago, like the way that Formula One races are presented. I mean, we all know there's not the most passing that goes on in Formula One, and there's a smaller field, less drivers, but you would think it's the greatest thing ever with the way that's presented, both through like the commentators, the booth, but also the way just that they follow the different battles throughout the field and everything. And I think there's a ton of opportunity. Like, I think the races have almost become kind of formulaic recently, and I think there's a ton of opportunity to shake things up and try to present the racing and the races and really the entire field and the racing product that NASCAR puts on in a new and different light. That's what I'm excited to see. And then I am looking to see maybe what happens with the Cup Series compared to like Xfinity Series popularity and the way that the Xfinity Series is talked about as it stays on CW and has had that consistent home and will continue to be accessed a little bit easier for a lot of people than Prime, just with the racing product that the Xfinity Series has put on. I'm wondering if that's gonna really cause the gap between those two series to maybe come down a little bit. But anyways, I'm excited for Prime. We'll see if we'll see if any of those wishes come true and if they're able to do anything new or unique as they've already kind of talked about doing. Neff, what do you think?
The thing that I'm curious about, and I haven't heard one way or the other, as how this broadcast is going to be constructed. Are we going to have standard TV camera guys panning type thing? Or is there going to be more of a technological movement where we have more fixed cameras and a lot more of them around the track that'll give us more shots? I envision when you're dealing with Amazon and the technology of the company that they would go down the front stretch grandstands and have a fixed camera on every single pit crew, so that when something happens on any pit stop, you can go right to that team and see what their pit stop was and not hope that you caught it or didn't catch it. And if you're having a wreck that happens in turn 4 when you're, in the middle of the pack while they were focused on the leaders, but if you have fixed cameras that could pick it up, I feel like fixed cameras has the potential to give us a lot more missed action that we've had before be picked up. I still think you need to have cameras following and all that, but at the same time, I would like to see them use their technology a little bit more. So that's the first part of it. I'm with you. I think Adam is the next heir apparent for a major network announcer. I'm willing to be patient with Dale Jr. I'm not the biggest Dale Jr. fan in the booth. I love Dale Jr. to death. I love his enthusiasm, but he just yells way too much when he's in the booth, and I'm hoping they're going to have that calm down a little. I love Steve Letarte in the booth. He's my favorite color analyst guy in the booth because I think he's smarter than anybody else that they ever put in those booths when they do it. So I'm curious to see it. I am an old man. I don't have Amazon Prime, but fortunately my fiance does, so we will be able to have it, and I will get to watch it all summer long. I'm looking forward to that. And I embrace a new perspective, and I really hope that we're going to see Amazon do some outside of the box thinking and do some different things that we haven't seen for, let's look. They had NASCAR 25 advertised during the All-Star race because it's been 25 years of Fox doing it.
Yeah, I think camera wise it's probably gonna be same for the summer stretch because it appears that TNT and Amazon are working together on at least the crew side of things. But I don't know. I think it's gonna be exciting on this viewership. But I have high hopes for them. I think the fact that you have a booth with a lot of chemistry, Letarte and Junior, like Amazon posted all the bloopers they did from their the promo they made, and I thought that was pretty good. The big thing about having a broadcast booth is chemistry, and it's also a 3-person booth, not like a 700-person booth that NBC tried to do with Dale there. And I think that's going to be a beneficial thing for him as well. If we got the Dale that we got from the Cars Tour race, I think Neff would be happy with him because that was a good. But I mean, slide job, like at least his reactions are like of a fan, and I appreciate that. Like I'd rather have that than, certain other broadcasters that we see that are just.
I agree with you.
So,
all right. Before we bail out, I want to give a quick shout out to Kelly Duncan. Yes, Harry Gant is now in the Hall of Fame. He was voted in. She was in our comment section. And that's why I dropped out for a second there today. I was trying to. It told me I had to log in to join the chat. When I tried to log in, it dropped me all the way out. So that was why I disappeared for a second there. But yes, Kelly, Harry did get voted in today.
Her cousin.
He will be a 2025 member of the NASCAR.
And yes, Duke Chronic, what a name. Biffle was at the event that we saw at at the Hall of Fame today. By the way, the race ended my screen froze because there was a caution with 2 laps to go. Tony Kanaan wins. This was the 2013 Indianapolis 500. So shout out to TK, who is, of course, the reserve driver for Kyle Larson this week. Also, I guess the team principal of Aaron McLaren. So that was the answer. No one guessed it. So, oh well. All right, final question. Speaking of the Indy 500, it is the biggest weekend in motorsports. We have the Indy 500. We have the Weenie 500, which on Friday we'll have Wienermobiles race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then we obviously, but on Sunday we have the Monaco GP in the morning. We have the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 at night. So we'll do this quickly as we wrap up. If you could only attend one of those three races, which one would it be? Because I think this is easy, but I'm not. I think there is a debate. Or you can rank, if you want, rank them like 1 through 3. So like number 1, number 2, number 3.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Ooh, I was gonna go like just automatically say the Indy 500, but then I will say attending Monaco would be really neat just because of the glitz and glam, even though the race necessarily wouldn't be. It'd be nice to like walk around and feeling. I got to go to the Kentucky Derby a few weeks ago to cover that, and like walking around, like feeling all wealthy and everything. Like that's kind of what Monaco would feel like. But I think I have to go with the Indy 500 just because of the size and scale of it. And this year, I actually, since I'm in Kentucky, I'm a little bit close, and I decided, like Kyle Larson said, this is the last time he plans on trying the double. I'm like, I'm going to send it. I'm going to try to go catch it this weekend, and hopefully the weather participates for my sake and for Kyle Larson's sake. But yeah, I got to go with the Indy. Honestly, I mean, they're all really close. I think I would rank Indy, Monaco, and then the Coke 600. As much as I would love to see the Coke 600, the patriotic paint schemes, the longest like race of the year mileage wise, that's the order that I would go.
So if I had more money, if I was a much more wealthier man, I'd probably want to go to Monaco to go see the Monaco casinos and have a little bit of fun there. That said, it's not a crazy exciting race, and it's also not really. It doesn't really have the production, I guess, that the Indy 500 does. The flair, yeah, that's a good way of putting that. That said, I am very excited to be going to my very first Indianapolis 500 this weekend. It is going to be, I'm very excited. I've been to a lot of fantastic races, and as a matter of fact, I've been to the Coke 600 as well. I was a fan back then, and I enjoyed it. It was a good time. That said, I feel like that race does rely a little bit more on the competition side of things. I was there in 2018, and I saw Kyle Busch blow out the field. So that didn't make it absolutely invigorating. The Indy 500, I feel like if you had one guy lead the entire race, I feel like it would still be a very exciting event to watch just because. Well,
I saw Johnny Rutherford 1980 lead basically the entire race. It was god awful.
But now with this Indy 500 in the draft, it's virtually impossible for a guy to lead every lap.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that said, I feel like this is kind of like, I feel like the Indy 500 is just going to be an exciting race no matter what. And not to mention, you can't beat that pre-race, that pre-race ceremonies. And I'm really excited to get to see that in person for the first time. So much history, so much culture involved. I don't think there's any race I'd want to be on that day other than the Indy 500.
Right. So one time, I have never been to Monaco. So if it was a one-time thing, I want to go to Monaco once just to say I did it. I worked with a guy that actually went to it. He told me it was an unbelievable experience.
My grandfather's actually been there. He's been to the Monaco GP. Like, he went to the race.
That's awesome. But I want to do it once just to say I was there. Similarly to Caleb talking about the Kentucky Derby, I went once. Glad I did it. Have zero desire to go back again. They run, I think it was 9 races. Total, it's 18 minutes of action. It takes 7 hours for it to happen because there's 45 minutes between every race. It's the most god-awful thing. On the plus side, it does allow you to drink a lot. I was hammered drunk by like the 5th race that day. So
unfortunately, Caleb could not do that since he was working for a news outlet. But
one time I want to see Monaco. But other than that, there is no question for me. I grew up in Indianapolis. I saw all but 3 races of the 500 between in vitro in 1963 when my mom was pregnant with me, all the way up until 96. I saw 4 races. 3 of those I was out of the country. And in 1975, for some reason, we didn't have tickets. I don't know why that happened, but we didn't. Second race would be the 600. Y'all know I'm a huge proponent of 500 miles for every race, and I love the fact that the 600 is 600 miles. I would be on board to having a few 550-mile races if we do it, but it'll never happen. And that would put Monaco third. So that's the way I would rank them out. I do want to see Monaco once, and to tell you, Dalton, assuming you're going as a media member,
correct.
Go outside the media center. Across the little walkway, there's a ledge above Victory Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Stand there for the start of the race, because there is no – I get goosebumps talking about it right now. There is no more incredible feeling than seeing those 11 rows of 3 come out of turn 4 down that cavern of fans as that race starts. It's the most incredible adrenaline rush you'll ever experience at a racetrack.
So – my time, the right one. So I think this is kind of, I think 1 is easy, 2 and 3 are the debate. And I think Monaco is just a cooler place than Charlotte. And I've been to Charlotte and I really love Charlotte. And I think it's a cool area. So I put Monaco 2 and then the Coke 600 3. But like, it's weird where it's like, I put them 2A, 2B because I both love to be at both races since I've never been. But I think also because I've been to multiple NASCAR races, I think like the Coke 600 is third also just because of the like I've seen a NASCAR race. I've not seen an IndyCar race. I've seen IndyCar practice, and I've not seen an F1 race in my life. And Monaco, I think because of the environment and the yachts and everything that goes with it, like big part of Monaco is like the extra stuff. It's not the actual race, and that's why I would love to. I have it number 2. 1, and I think it's a wide gap. I really do, is the Indianapolis 500. I will go to that. Like, it's on my bucket list. I think it's in the conversation of, like, the Masters in terms of events wanting to attend as a sports fan, because I think out of all 3 events on that day, it's the one event that I think any sports fan, even if you're not a racing fan, should attend because it's just so unique and so awesome. And it produces every time. It's always awesome. I mean, if you're watching over here real quickly, you show the move that Tony Kanaan did, a 3-wide pass for the lead before caution came out to win the Indianapolis 500 for the first time. Like, you go back, you look at the move that New Gardens made the last 2 years, the way the Pato Award has come so close to winning it and wrecked one year trying to win the Indianapolis 500. And everything to go along with that. I think the Indy 500, like, it belongs in the conversation of, like, would you rather attend the Indy 500, the Masters, the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA Finals? Like that's where the conversation belongs. Because if someone came to me and be like, all right, you won tickets to either the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500 without hesitation, I'm saying, especially at how crappy the Speedway, without question, I'm going to the Indy 500.
Let's calm down, okay?
Okay, Mr. Daytona.
Let's chill out.
We'll talk next week.
Let's find out after you see the start of this race next weekend, my friend.
Because here's the thing.
You're not gonna. It's not gonna. Nothing's gonna.
You live in Daytona Beach, Florida. No crap.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's my point.
Anybody
else? That's cool. Like you got your own opinion, man. But this is my home.
All right.
Hey, also, I wanted to throw out there, this is the last year for a while at least of the triple all 3 in one day, because Monaco starting in 2026 is moving to the first weekend in June, and they're still trying to do like a triple crown where it'll be the Indy 500, Monaco, and then the 24 hours of Le Mans. But it's sad. Enjoy it. It's your last Christmas.
Good job,
day,
F1. Thanks. Thanks a lot, F1.
Didn't they 3 or 4 years ago? Monaco was on.
It was the
like
weekend
Saturday,
before. It was the weekend before.
Yeah,
it was the weekend before.
Yeah,
I hope
that was
this means
21.
that more F1 guys will come out and try the Indy 500.
Ooh. Yeah, but the one guy guy I really want to see do it has already said he would never do it. So I just
I'd see any of them, but okay.
Verstappen, I would love to see Max Verstappen do it.
See, I want to see Lewis do it.
But I think Lewis is too, like, you have to do it. How old was Alonso when he did it? Was like mid-30s?
He's like 80 years old, I think.
He's a rookie.
How old was
Remember?
Emerson Fittipaldi when he freaking won it?
Yeah, he was like.
No,
he's
I
like
know,
90.
but the thing is, like, Lewis is 40. Lewis watched that and be like, at 40 years old, do I really want to try it? I think your first attempt, you have to be kind of somewhat young and naive. That's why. True.
Great.
But here's the thing. Here, ready? All right, I got it. I figured out how Max Verstappen will do it. Kyle Larson wins the Indianapolis 500, wins the Coke 600, does the double, gets on the mic and says, Max Verstappen beat that, drops the mic. And Max is like, okay. And then he does. That's the only way it happens.
I don't think Max cares.
I know he doesn't care, but that's like the only, you have to think about it. Like, Max is such a dude that like is so solely focused on the challenge. Like, I will say this, if Max Verstappen does the Indy 500, I think he would win it. Like, he's that good. I think he would win it. I really do. So Max, if you're watching this, because we know you love your NASCAR, please.
He loves front stretch. He's a big proponent of front stretch.
Please do the Indianapolis 500. All right, that will do it for this episode. All right, let's quickly. Dalton, you're going to be at Indy, so at Pit Lane CPT for the latest stuff in Indy. Caleb, are you riding this week?
Yes.
He's also got Stock Car Scoop later this week. Neff, are you riding this week?
I am not.
Okay.
Which is a bummer because I really would have loved to have had a commentary on the Michael Waltrip fiasco.
Well, if you want to hear his live reaction to it, go back to watch our watch party. Get to see Neff on Christmas. He'll be on our YouTube channel, our regular YouTube channel, on Sunday. We'll tentatively say 9 a.m., but hopefully we'll get that worked out. I got to teach him how to use StreamYard. But that will do it for this episode of Happy Hour. Signing off for now. For Caleb, for Dalton, for the old man Mike Neff. Maybe Michael Massey will finally show up one day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Happy.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Front Stretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Front Stretch fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay rewarded.